This is Sid and Friends in the Morning.
77 WABC.
Fox and Friends has Rob Schneider in studio coming back from the break. Rob Schneider, who's best friends with Adam Sandler. And Sandler's great because Adam, when you're Adam's friend, he puts you in all of his movies. Kind of like Willie DeMeo and Danny A with me, but not exactly as big as Adam Sandler. So he's in every Sandler movie, Schneider. And I don't know if you know this, but Adam Sandler is about to make, like 30 years later, the sequel to Happy Gilmore. They're making Happy Gilmore 2. And I believe today or tomorrow, they've got an open tryout. They're going to film the movie in New Jersey between September and November, those 2 or 3 months. But either today or tomorrow, there's an open tryout for Happy Gilmore 2. Now, I confuse his movies, Billy Madison, all that stuff back then, but I'm pretty sure that was the one where Bob Barker, where he said, "The price is wrong, bitch."
Yeah.
That's the one, right?
One, yeah.
Yeah, Barker can't be in this movie because he's out of business.
Yeah,
Idiot.
I think a new T-shirt's in order.
Yeah, I think so too. He's one of the 2 best politicians in my lifetime. I say it every time. It's true. Rudy Giuliani and Peter King, the great congressman. And now that I mentioned Giuliani, Pete, and I just did that Tunnel to Towers deal, which I do every Wednesday, and I mentioned the fact it's already 23 years. And I remember the conversation with Imus and McCord like it was yesterday. Does it seem like 23 years to you, Pete?
Really, it doesn't. And I think back, like, what was happening 23 years after Pearl Harbor, and people still weren't talking about it with the intensity that people do talk about 9/11 today. Now, unfortunately, too many people have sort of forgotten about it. But still, there were so many people who 9/11, it's like it happened yesterday. I mean, you just walk down the street, you see different street signs named after people who were killed in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's there. And every time you see the burning towers, it comes back. Maybe it's because of television, maybe because it hit home here so much. But no, it seems like yesterday. I can't believe 23 years. I mean, my daughter just got married. I'm just trying to think of all the things that happened in the last 23 years. It's incredible. I hope Americans never do forget it. Certainly New Yorkers should never forget. And not just as a historical event, but as a human tragedy, all the people who suffered, and the thousands and thousands of people who will continue to suffer from 9/11 illnesses, and also the families who have suffered real psychological wounds, devastating wounds from those days.
Yeah, they never talk about that. That's true. And I know your community was hit pretty hard. I do believe per capita, no community in New York was hit harder than mine. They actually have a whole park right by 116th Street dedicated to all the souls we lost that day. I mean, because I live amongst us, Peter, all firefighters and first responders and cops. So it's hard for me to forget it. I never will anyway because I remain close to people like you and Frank and all these other folks. And we had a discussion a couple of weeks ago about the money running out, the money being paid to some of these victims, and that's become an issue again. Where are we with that?
Yeah, it took us like so many years to get the bills through, and we had to do like 3 or 4 of them in a row. But when we passed the final one in 2019, it was felt by everyone that there was more than enough money in there. And now, as it turns out, there's so many more people being diagnosed with these illnesses that in a number of years, that money is going to be depleted. So it has to be that you have to refill it. You have to put whatever money is in there. Make it as much as necessary so that every person who's been sick, everyone who's been injured, every family that's been devastated by this gets the funding that they're entitled to. And for a long time, it was a fight to get it because it was being delayed. A lot of people in other parts of the country who are holding back on it. But this final one is really no one to blame. Every actuary, every health person we spoke to said this will be more than enough money. As it turns out, it's not. So we have to make sure that whatever is done, that is a lasting debt we have. It's an obligation. It's a moral obligation we have to those who were down there, those who were murdered, the families of those who were murdered. It's a something that can't ever be forgotten. It can't be looked upon as something that just happened years ago. It's unfortunately, even though those people were killed on 9/11, the tragedy is alive and well today.
It is, and you do a great job. I'll give you credit here, Congressman Peter King. You keep it alive because a lot of talk on the Hill, of course, about, Ukraine and Russia. I get it. A lot of talk about Israel in the Middle East. I get it. Possibility of Asia, China, all that stuff. But you're always going back. You're going back every couple of months, it seems like, with these committee hearings and saying, whoa, folks, don't lose sight of, ISIS or the Taliban or Al-Qaeda. While they're up there these last 2 nights in Chicago, bad-mouthing Donald Trump all night. That's all they do is bad-mouth Donald Trump all night. Let's not forget that the border czar, who's running for president, has allowed thousands, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people who would love to pull off another 9/11 into this country. And there's no question in my mind that as you and I speak, they are here right now, maybe planning that next attack. No?
No, they are definitely here. And also, whatever happens is going to be coordinated either by self-starters here in this country or by overseas. ISIS, unfortunately, has come back. You have ISIS-K, and you still have Al-Qaeda, and you still have just generally Islamist terrorists. We're not supposed to say that, but they are. They're Islamist terrorists. The Ku Klux Klan is not a bunch of black guys, and Black Lives Matter is not a bunch of white guys. The fact is, you go where the threat is coming from, and the Islamist terrorism comes from the Muslim community. And I wish the Muslim community over the years have been more cooperative with us, but they are getting better. But still, that's a real issue. We can't ignore it. We can't make believe that everyone's the same and just a few bad people here and there. No, there are specific groups, including Irish, all of them. We've all had bad people in our midst. The idea is to root them out, expose them, and make sure that they can't carry out evil if they want to.
Let's take a short break, Peter, when we get back. I know you've been to a lot of conventions. You were a big-time congressman and politician for the better part of 4 decades. And I was in Milwaukee. I'm watching this one on TV. And to me, the difference is stark. And of course, I'm just watching it on TV. And then the ultimate slap in the face, Pete, the ultimate slap in the face for the mayor of New York City. Not Giuliani, the current one. We'll talk about all that with Peter King when we get back.
Entertaining and informative.
This is Sid and Friends in the Morning.
77 WABC.
It's a great song right here. Phil Collins, I Missed Again, as we start the fourth and final hour. A couple of shout-outs here. Pete Golia, big fan of the show, listening this morning. And down in Florida, Annalise Delatorre, big fan of the show. She's listening, I believe, in Tampa this morning. Thank you for listening, as always, to Sid and Friends in the Morning. They love us all over the world. Back here with Pete. Pete, before I get to Adams and some other things I wanted to talk about, the DNC convention, Curtis is in every morning, as you know, and he has a contention as to why Iran has not fired back at Israel. We killed the second in command for Hamas over 3 weeks ago in Tehran. Same day we wiped out a guy in Beirut, but let's stick with the guy in Tehran, okay? He was number 2 behind Sinwar. So we kill him, and Iran says, Now you really crossed the line. We're coming at you. We're coming at you hard. And they've done nothing. Absolutely nothing. Now, a report came out last week that supposedly Iran said to America, we will not attack Israel if you hand over the names of the Mossad agents that were responsible for getting that intelligence and placing that bomb in that house in Tehran. And Curtis's contention is we must have done it. It's not like we haven't done stuff like that before, as horrible as it sounds. We have. We must have done it because Iran hasn't done anything for 3 weeks. Is Curtis onto something, or is he once again a little too far with the conspiracy theory?
To me, it's dangerous to go with those theories unless there's something to back it up. There is a report, and again, this is what I really miss about not being in Congress, because I would pretty much know that if I were down there, being on the Intelligence Committee, being on the Homeland Security Committee. You're tied into all those things. Why Iran isn't acting? Are they planning something bigger than ever? Have we done something else to them? Maybe we're holding a threat over them, or maybe there was some backroom deal, which that was carried out though. There's certain things you don't do, and you don't give up your own people. You don't give up assets of your own people, because if that is just a very practical reason, if that's done just once, you're going to have a very, very hard time ever recruiting people again in the future. So that's again, Curtis loves to go off on these things. Who knows? He could end up being right, but I wouldn't want to speculate on that. No. By the way, there's one thing I'm really annoyed with you about. You promised me I would never be on again the same show as your mother. How do I follow her? I mean, nobody. By the way, you and I, nobody's listening to me now.
No, that's not true. No, the beauty is when Mom
comes on, everybody that stops the show. She's phenomenal.
No, listen, I set you up great with Mom and Jim Jordan. No, come on, those are two great guys. Thank you for saying that. She was terrific today. I know that you love her. Thank you. He may be crazy. There's somebody like you said, he may not be. He may not be, because I got to tell you, when I arrived in Milwaukee, that first Monday morning show that I did, when Curtis came on and started yelling that basically the Secret Service and the FBI wanted Trump dead, and I got furious. I did. And I basically kicked him out of the studio, and here we are. It's a while later now, and we still have more answers than questions. So in both of these cases, Iran not attacking Israel, no real answers as to what a 20-year-old kid was doing on that roof with all these other things going on in and around him. As crazy as some of this stuff sounds, until I get a better explanation, I can't discount what Curtis is saying. Is that fair?
No. To me, if you look at it objectively at all, there's no way you got the Secret Service and the FBI coming together to arrange the assassination of the former president of the United States without the local sheriffs, the local police, other people involved. And nobody even knew that he was going there until about 8 days before, that somehow they would have a guy in place, a 20-year-old psycho, in place, ready to carry out this. And to do that, you have to get all the Secret Service involved. You have to get the FBI
let me ask
involved.
You this. No, listen, because of course, I agree with you, and that's why I back Curtis down. But let me ask you this: how do you have guys inside a building, and a kid puts a ladder outside the building and is able to walk up a ladder? Explain that to me.
Yeah, well, that's why you can't be part of a plot, because everybody had to be in on it. It was terrible incompetence. And by the way, I have some involvement here. I've been talking to the chairman of the committee on the assassinations. This, to me, was the worst gross malpractice. I use the example. We had that international cricket tournament here in Nassau County, which doesn't compare to a former president of the United States speaking. We had weeks and weeks of preparation. Pat Ryder had the FBI, Secret Service, Homeland Security, State Police, Nassau Police, Suffolk Police, everyone possibly involved. And the one thing over and over, he said he didn't want to see any structure anywhere near that cricket pitch, that cricket field, where there was not a sniper to cover it, where there was not people. You don't allow anyone on any type of building where they have any type of line of vision into a cricket field. This is for cricket, not the President of the United States. So if that type of preparation was done here, I think the Secret Service, and again, when I was chairman of the Homeland Security Committee, I had jurisdiction over the Secret Service. This, to me, is gross incompetence by someone at that level, and that's why I want to focus on that, because we can't allow this to happen. Whether it's it was Kamala Harris, whether it's Donald Trump, about anybody, whether it's RFK Jr. We can't allow that type of gross malpractice ever again.
No, listen, I still agree with you, but I'm going to remain with this until I've got a better answer. I'm not discounting anything. I'm not. But you make a very good point. To think that all these people, all these groups were in it together seems a bit silly. I do want to get to the police in Chicago. I just saw your most recent post, and those streets are filled with agitators and troublemakers and criminals. And it looks like the Chicago police, and you know that force number is down. It is way down, but it looks like they're doing a pretty spectacular job, yes?
So far, and listen, if they're allowed to do the job, they will do a great job. That mayor is absolutely horrible. The media will turn on the cops in a second. If anything goes down, not just bad, that looks bad or that looks ugly, that looks awful. So those cops have I tell you, that's a tough spot to be in because they're taking on a bunch of animals and thugs and goons. They have to take them on, and they have to do it in a way that's going to look good on the video cameras that people use, the cell phone cameras. So. Their jobs, their pensions, their whole freedom could be at stake, and they have to keep the city of Chicago safe against paid professional agitators who are anti-Semitic, anti-American. They're racist, they're bigots, they're horrible people, and the cops have to do what they can to keep them under control and do it in a way that they're not going to lose their freedom and their pensions and their jobs.
Last one, Pete. So of course, that the mayor and I, Eric Adams, and I preface all these conversations with it because just in case people don't know, I tried, and so did he, so did he. I'm sure he wasn't thrilled about meeting me the first time, but we had a lot of meetings, dinners and lunches, handed out food to the homeless, a couple of nice dinners, even a couple of dinners with Danielle and Gabriel, that. And I liked him, fine. He would listen to me, but he didn't really listen to me, And now it turns out he's heading out to the DNC today. He's the mayor of New York City. That's about as a high-profile Democrat as anybody in the country. He's the mayor of New York City. He's heading to the DNC today, and they are not allowing him to speak. Mind you, Pete King, they did a whole thing with Spike Lee. Spike Lee, an actor, getting a lot more face time in Chicago than the mayor of New York City. And the mayor goes, I don't care. He's a liar. Of course he cares. His ego can't handle that. How humiliating is it that the mayor of New York is not given a chance to speak at the DNC?
So let me take a little different view on that. I think the reason he's being snubbed the way he is because he did stand up to Biden and to Kamala Harris. So that was one of the few things he did right was speaking out against them on the migrant issue. He didn't follow through on it. But he antagonized them. So in the way he's being punished because he said and did the right thing in that instance. So listen, I have real problems with the mayor's record as mayor, over the last 3 years. But I think the reason he's being penalized the way he is because he stood up to them, at least on that one issue.
Yeah, he did, but not enough. So what he does is,
I agree. Yeah.
No, I know you said that. So no one really likes him. Like the Democrats don't like him because he quote unquote stood up. And Republicans like me can't stand him because he didn't stand up nearly aggressive enough. So he's kind of left himself in the middle with nobody, and that's the last place you want to be. You'd rather be hated and loved than nobody likes you. And that's where Adams is, right?
And that's the difference between him and Donald Trump. Donald Trump doesn't care who hates him. So listen, any problems I've had with Donald Trump, the fact is he was an excellent president. He does what he feels he has to do, and he's not going to worry about making everybody happy. He wants to do what he thinks is right and do it, and let the chips fall where they may.
I'm the same way, just so you know, Pete. I don't care if you hate me.
You don't care being hated. By the way, all these guys, you think they like you. You should hear what Anthony D'Esposito says about you behind your back. I mean, oh, my God. He's on the phone. How do they get involved with this crazy shit? I mean, you got to bail you out of jail down in Washington. You said you were carrying on in Milwaukee. I mean, it's terrible,
You guys are so butthurt over my new blossoming relationship with Mazi Pillow.
Oh, I don't even bring that up. I'm not even talking to Mazi anymore. I told her, this is it. If you're in love with Sid, then it's over. Forget it.
I do love her. You know what I saw yesterday, Pete? I was thinking about you. I actually saw, and Bruce Blakeman, of course, is the star of the commercial, but it's a Nassau County commercial. I'd never seen it before. Maybe it's been running for a long time. I never saw it. And it shows everything from the beaches to Belmont Park to, I know I'm missing a whole bunch of big spots in Nassau, but it's a beautiful commercial.
Yeah, it's Bruce is doing a great job, and I think he feels after too long people have overlooked Nassau. For instance, Eisenhower Park is bigger than Central Park. UBS Arena is a great arena. You have Belmont there. You have beaches, all sorts of facilities. it's great. And so Bruce wants to get out there, and he also has so many cultural involvement, sports. We have everything, and Bruce is keeping it together. He really is, and he wants everyone to know it. And also, I hate to say this, the more problems you have in New York City, the more he wants people to come and enjoy the pleasures of Nassau County.
Of course. He's like the Ron DeSantis of New York. So on the way out, the Long Island, of course, is gaining these people because they're leaving. And I'm still seeing stuff about Officer Diller, which is a nice thing, Peter.
Yeah, I was driving down. I was getting off the Southern State Parkway. I was driving down from the north into Massapequa, and you still have blocks and blocks between the Southern State Parkway going down into Massapequa with blue ribbons around the poles. It's still there. I mean, people have not gotten over that, and they won't. It's a great community. It's police, it's firemen, it's hardworking people.
Yep.
It's first-generation people who've gone to college. Really, what America's about, in many ways, similar to what you have. You're into Rockaway, there, Bell Harbor, beautiful. And, these are the people who are going to keep the country going.
They are very similar. How nice was it on the way out here to hear Jim Jordan unprovoked on last hour, bringing up all your buddies in Nassau and Suffolk County? Yeah,
they are really standing together. Republicans are now, they sometimes either took New York for granted or they forgot about us. Now they realize that when it comes to tough fights, those guys will be with them. If you get Esposito on your side, and whether things go good or go bad, he's going to be there. He's going to be fighting to the very end. And Garbarino, good guy. Lola's a good guy. Lola's a good guy. The guys on Long Island, listen, we've never had, even though we win, we lose, we win more than we do lose, but it's always tough. I mean, every district is like a 51-49 district.
Yeah.
And we always had Newsday against us out here.
Yep.
Media's against us. We've had to be a tough group of people. And Esposito, he grew up down the block from Aldamato. I mean, talk about getting a tough rain.
I know. I actually spent the whole dinner in Milwaukee the first night, the day before the convention started, at the Capitol Grill with Esposito and Cairo and Ed Cox and all those guys, talking to Aldamato's brother. And I got to tell you, I love the guy. Come on. I loved him. And every time I would see him at the hotel, he loved Danielle too. He was just great. He's a great guy.
Armand D'Amato is a great guy.
Armand, that's right, yeah.
Armand, no, he's great. Terrific guy. I've known Al for well over 50 years. He's been a great friend to me. Armand is always. I was just with Armand last week. He's a low-key member of the family, but he's a great sense of humor.
Yep.
Very loyal guy.
Yep.
And he's one of these phenomenal, crazy athletes. I mean, he does all that, Monster Man stuff. And God, he's crazy.
Yeah, he runs like Danielle. He was talking to Danielle about running and marathons and big sports guy too. No, he's great. Well, listen, this was a fun and terrific conversation as always, Peter. I love you. Thank you for doing it. We'll do it again very, very soon. Thank you.
Yeah, I love you. Don't throw me overboard for Mozzie all the time, okay?
No, you're still my guy, I promise. I love all of you, Pete, but you're my guy. You're my main guy. That's the great Congressman Peter King, who does a great job on this show every Wednesday.